Yeah, and you know, and it's so common, although it's not talked about as much as, you know, the
Hmm.
crackheads
Exactly.
or you know, the people who smoke marijuana or whatever. But being addicted to prescription drugs is very, very common.
It's very, very common. You'd be surprised the average person that, that's maybe had a surgery or something, or that are on prescription painkillers right now. And what I call them is the legal drugs,
Hmm.
because you have a prescription for them. It's not something that you have to, go off the streets and find, or what's considered illegal drugs. And there are quite a few people that are out there that are addicted to prescription painkillers, and it's really easy to do. Because if you're in pain, or you decide that, okay, it makes you feel a certain way, but I'm actually dealing with something, and instead of you
Hmm.
dealing with the truth of the matter, you kind of say, oh, well, I'll just take maybe one more of those, and I
Hmm.
want to numb myself out, or I want to medicate this out. And really, you just really need to look beyond the surface of what you're going through and identify those things that brought you to where you are.
So when did you think you had a problem?
When there were no more.
Hmm.
That's when I knew I had a
Oh,
problem.
wow.
When there were no more, and I
So you
realized
were
that
taking your
I
mom's.
was taking my mother's, right,
Okay.
and she gave me them. She had tons
Yeah.
of them, and she gave them to me. She said, take these; they'll help you, and because I really needed to get up and keep moving her around. I
Hmm.
mean, we were giving her a bath, and she was pretty heavy, and so I was lifting her up, and she really needed my help. And so she goes, "Well, hey, I have something that can help you. So just take these." And when I discovered that I hadn't been sleeping, because my mother was in the next room
Hmm.
dying, and she was my best friend, and so I couldn't turn my brain off. And I think that's something that most people identify with, but they never
Hmm.
really talk about, when your body is so relaxed, but your mind is continuing to go. And my mind was continuing to move on because she was in the next room dying. I kept thinking, when will it be? Will it
Hmm.
be today? Will it be tomorrow? Every time I would wake up and go see her, I'd see
Hmm.
a little less life. But then I was go to sleep, and I try to sleep and go, well, maybe she needs something, or
Hmm.
you want to go in there and check and see if she's still breathing. Because to be honest with you, having your mother pass in your home was pretty traumatic. And I've been around people that are, of course, dead people and funerals,
Hmm.
but not to have my mother die in my home, that I was going to have to find her and take care of her. So that was a lot of stress. And so when I discovered these pills were actually making me relax, maybe make my
Hmm.
body relax, and it gave me a little bit relief, I said, you know what, I need to sleep, so I'll
Hmm.
take another one. And just kept going. And that's when I knew I had a problem, when there were no more.
Yeah. And that I know that had to be really, really painful because you're dealing with the death of your mom, and you're not, and your coping mechanism has gone away.
Has going away. Everything you seem and you learn that it's just, wow, what do I do now? Because I've never been pressed or pushed to that point where my best friend, my mother, is
Hmm.
going to die, and then I'm going to be responsible for the care of her body to make sure it gets to the next phase, which
Hmm.
is, contacting hospice and contacting the funeral director. But she had also done something very unique during this process. It was the last 30 days of her life, and she made us plan her entire funeral.
Hmm.
And so that was a lot of stress as well. And at times I'd say, I can't do this, Mom. I just can't do this. And she'd say, oh, yes, you can. You can do it. Come on, we need to pick out the coffin now. And
Hmm.
we need to, pick out what I'm going to wear. And let's work on the obituary today. And that's a lot to have someone to help you. You're trying to process the fact that she's going to die.
Hmm.
And then you're trying to also process that you're going to have to help her. And she wants you to do all the planning. Let's do the program now. And I'm like,
Hmm.
no, I can't. It's just too much for me. So, you look for any way to take the pain away. And when there were no more pills left, then, I said, well, maybe alcohol would actually give me some of the same feelings,
Hmm.
because it's the same thing. And so you started to abuse that. And that's what I did. I started to have one glass of wine, 2 glasses of wine, 3 glasses of wine. Before I know it, I was drinking an entire bottle, just to try to, cope, but just try to
Hmm.
get some rest. And I actually realized, I wrote in the book that I realized what Michael Jackson was going through.
Hmm.
Michael Jackson was really looking for peace, but he thought he needed rest. He thought he needed sleep.
Hmm.
And I kept saying the same thing, that these things that I were taking were going to give me sleep. But really what I was looking for was peace. And I needed to know peace, that she was going to be okay, and that peace that my life could go on and be okay. And I just needed some peace. I used those drugs to try to get that, and it wasn't going to work.